it's so good to be here. My name is Jessica, and my family is here. My youngest son is working, so he can't be here, otherwise he would be here. We kind of do all things together. I see a lot of familiar faces, and that's not surprising because I kind of began my creative career, as a young person here in Deep Ellum, actually. I met my husband at 22 years of age, where you probably never want your daughter to meet somebody, which would be Club Clearview. Anybody go to Club Clearview back in the day? So that's how that started. But yeah, and then I started my first business, Super Yoga Palace, and some of you went there in Deep Ellum, actually in the Life in Deep Ellum building that is around the corner. And we filmed our first feature film using a lot of Deep Ellum, including Sons of Herman Holm, This World Won't Break, if any of y'all have seen that. So we've lived in this area, we've done business in this area, we kind of came into our own in this area, so this area is very, very special. So if you're not from this area, it definitely has changed quite a bit, but it still has a certain magic, and if you made a trek, thank you so much for doing that. So I do consider myself, well, I do wear a lot of hats, as I think most creatives do, but I consider myself a healing artist that produces beauty. I see things and I want them to come to fruition, but discovering how that could actually take place, discovering how to move from A to B, that took a little time, and I'm going to share my process because maybe it'll help you too. So ritual, ritual is actually what is bringing us here together today. It's the ritual of a once-a-month gathering. There is a sort of ritualized structure as to what happens, but there's also a lot of space for organic growth, organic communing, connection, and it's something that punctuates time. It's something that punctuates your life. Like maybe you come to all of these, and so that is one of the ways that I actually look at ritual, is something that gives you something to look forward to in the midst of what you have to do. So if you are a creative and an adult, you most likely still have to do the adulting. You have to pay your rent or mortgage, your bills, pay your taxes. We brush our teeth. We do a lot of things out of habit. We know it's good for us, it's maintenance, or the IRS is going to come after us. Like there's just things we have to do, whether we think it's fun or not, especially after a certain age. But I have found that ritual takes what is habit and turns it from a I have to I want to. And that changes everything because it changes your mindset. And your mindset is what inevitably informs the actions that you take or you don't take in your life. And your actions is the culmination of all of that reality. So one of these are some of the projects that I've been part of since that ripe old age of 22. I actually joined the polyphonic spree at 25. That's a whole other talking story. I'm not sure why I thought I should be able to do that. I was invited to join and to tour the world, and I had a 1-year-old, and somehow I thought that was a good idea and I'd make it work. And here, I'm 47 now and I'm still in it. We have a tour coming up, and so it's worked. But the polyphonic spree, starting Super Yoga Palace in 2009 in Deep Ellum, and producing my husband's first full-length feature film, This World Won't Break, an award-winning film. And then we've just wrapped post-production for El Tanto por Cristo, which, if the technology gods comply, you'll get to see a little bit of at the end of this talk. So how is one able to, what is ritual? Well, I'm going to tell you what ritual is for me, how I've incorporated it to be able to have a family and navigate the adulting life, the have to life, the want to life. I think my first the first time that I realized that the mundane didn't have to be was we were touring in France. It was actually just a European tour, I should say, with a festival in France. So I have been all over the world with the band, but a lot of times the festivals are in a field. So I've seen a lot of fields all over the world, you know. They kind of look the same. The climate might be a little different. But at these festivals, there's hospitality. I don't know, I mean, y'all have probably been to music festivals before and stuff, so there's hospitality. And the hospitality tents are great. You know, they have decent food and hydration, and they're typically just like white tables, you know, fold-out tables, like way too bright lights. And you go there, and what I've loved about the hospitality is that you'll, especially in the early days of Polyphonic, and we were with anyone you could think of, we were around, and it was very cool. You're like, you're eating, I'm eating, we're all human, we're all the same. You know, so so I really loved those opportunities. But when we were in France, I go to the hospitality table. Of course, it's just hospitality in a field like every other festival. But in France, there were long wooden picnic tables with checkered tablecloths and little tea-light candles, carafes of wine, water, baguettes, and flowers. Very simple. This was nothing fancy. But I remember everybody, like, just the atmosphere. We were all eating, just like in the other festivals, we're all eating. But the actual ritual of that meal, the sitting down, the enjoying, the sensory experience, I remember coming home from that, and my children were very young, so if you've had young children, you know it's a lot just to manage your life in that stage, yet alone anything else. But I was like, I want to start incorporating this moment. I'm gonna eat anyway. We're gonna eat anyway. So how can I have more presence, more peace, more clarity, less rush, which leads to more clarity? That was just like my first, you know, we all have these moments in our life where just something clicks. And for me, I was like, wow. So thank you, France, for that. That was pretty great. So that was my first aha moment as far as ritual and ritualizing the regular, ritualizing your everyday, keeping it simple. Some people might think or assume or not know, like, oh, you're a yoga instructor, you do a lot of woo and ritual. Well, there can be some of that. But that's not what I'm talking about. That's not the practicality of when your feet have to hit the floor and you have all the things you have to do, the things you want to do, and how do you marry those with a sense of presence and peace. And so, you know, routine are tasks performed regularly and often without much thought. They're kind of more automated habits. So brushing your teeth would be routine, and, you know, maintaining your home would be routine. There's things that you do in your life, getting up, going to your job that pays your bills, routine. Ritual as actions imbued with intention, so significance and often a sense of reverence, a rhythm that punctuates time. And for me, that's huge, a rhythm that punctuates time, adding beauty and expectation. So it's adulting, but it's made meaningful. So that's kind of how I look at it. So the importance of wellness, of ritual in your wellness and creativity. Wellness is everything. You know, people will often refer to different types of wellness, you know, mental wellness and physical wellness and spiritual wellness, but it's all just wellness. And rituals can act as a gateway to presence and focus the mind by engaging the body through intentional, repeated actions. And for creatives, we never get stuck in our mind, do we? Never. Me either. But that happens. We get these ideas, and they can get here. We get really excited, and then there can be the freeze response. If you've ever felt that, same, normal. But rituals can help kind of take what's here and ground it and put feet to it. And it can be super simple. I mean, these are even some of my own. I open the door at first light and I start to walk. If anyone follows me on Instagram, and you might see my stories, it's because I'll be so inspired by the little cat that perches here, or the squirrel. I mean, they're so funny in the morning, these little critters, and hearing the sounds. And all of a sudden, I'm not so important. there's this, even in Dallas, we don't have hills and rivers in Dallas, so we can forget we're not so important sometimes, but just take a walk in your neighborhood if you're able to, or a park, and it's awe-inspiring, it's humorous, and all of a sudden you're starting to get into your body. A lot of times in the morning, our mind isn't so super cluttered, so that's a great time to just pound the pavement, get that first light in your eyes, just get the blood flowing, and without headphones. I know sometimes I like to listen to podcasts and such, kind of multitask, but just at least for one of those loops around the block. Some deep breaths, some deep breathing. I'm going to kind of go through some really basic ways to breathe, even if you've never done a breathwork class in your life, that can really get you out of your head into your body, because we want to take this ideation and bring it to fruition, right? Otherwise, what are we doing? We're just hiding our light. And so these, it just helps move forward from the overthinking into actionable and tangible ideas. Creating spaces for creativity. So rituals can be the anchors for your day, providing structure and freeing up mental space. So I like to think about this too. So for me, that morning ritual of walking outside, of taking the deep breaths, I have a gratitude practice, and I usually do 4 loops. 4 loops is 2 miles, and it's about 12 and a half minutes for me to get around casually. And I just start, because when you start to be grateful for things, I am walking in this space that is safe. I have freedom. I am getting to go to a job that pays me. I am able to pursue my creative ideas. I'm so grateful for so-and-so who believes in me. Or you just start doing this, all of a sudden the attention is off you and you see how much you have. That's also where I do my daily prayers. I just, that might be meditation for you, that might be prayer, but that's the one time when I'm just in this flow of, it's not me, it's out there. Because I do believe that the things that we receive aren't inherently from us. There's some portal out there and we're gifted them and they're given to us, and we have a responsibility. But if they get stuck here, we're hiding our light. So these are just things that have helped me. And then once that becomes something that's flow, once I'm in that flow state, I find that the other piece of the importance of ritual is to have a type of structure. When you give yourself some sort of boundary, some sort of holistic, organic boundary, then you're starting to say yes to yourself. It can start small. Maybe it just starts with your walk. But then maybe you start to say, what else is taking my peace? And you start to prioritize. You have more clarity to prioritize the next step once you're feeling free. And I feel like that ritual helps you to get out of the head, into the body, and to find a sense of freedom. So, rituals over time can become enriching habits that nurture their well-being. So again, the have-tos can become the want-tos, but with soul. You can meet with your accountant and it can be an elevated experience when you ritualize it. When you go, I'm not going to not look at these things that are overwhelming to me, but I'm going to face it. I'm going to plan for my future so that I can have this desired outcome. These are the things that start to be this I get to, and it becomes a thing that is more joyful. So my cornerstones for everyday rituals is movement in nature. I know that's not everyone's reality, because we're not all the same, but I would say more often than not, we probably can put our sneakers on and hit the pavement somewhere, be it a park or maybe just out your front door. And again, it doesn't have to be long, without a headphone, without a headset. And then breathing and centering. So that's something that I want to teach you. Let me ask first, how many people have experienced a formal breathwork technique before? Yoga? Yeah. Okay, so there's all sorts of breathwork techniques out there, and so you'll find one that works for you. But when I'm walking, especially if, I just have it's just been already one of those mornings. When I'm walking, I'll choose different types of breath work. But this one I like to share because I use it with children. I've taught my mom this because it's something that's easy to remember. So when you're walking, if you're just feeling like you're kind of all pent up in your chest, or maybe you're just doing it as a practice, you can, and we can do this together. You can sniff the flower, blow out the birthday candle. Sniff the flower, blow out the birthday candle. Sniff the flower, blow out the birthday candle. Isn't that already just so calming? It's just such a simple technique. And sometimes if you could think, sniff the flower, blow out the birthday candle. And I love it when children do it because when they sniff a flower, they're really sniffing that flower. It's super cute, but they're also getting that really deep breath. And then they're really going for it with the candles. And so it's super fun. If you're not wanting to sniff the flower and blow out the birthday candle, like maybe at work or at your desk or wherever, you can do box breathing. So box breathing is a simple measure. And if you're not used to deep diaphragmatic breaths, then give yourself a short measure, like a 2 count. So think about a box, and we're gonna inhale. We'll just inhale for 2, we'll hold for 2, we'll exhale for 2, and then hold for 2. And so that's it. And as you progress in that practice, you can bring it up to 4, or however, or whatever the count you would like that serves you. So we'll just do 2 for now. So let's take a deep breath in for 2, 1, hold, exhale, 1, 2, hold, inhale, 1, 2, hold, exhale, 1, 2, hold. One more time. Inhale, 1, 2, hold. Exhale, 1, 2, hold. That's something that involves a little less facial expression that you could do anywhere that you might like to do, and especially on these walks. So as I'm walking, I have, I'm just saying gratitude. I'm keeping my gratitude practice. Sometimes I might look a little bit crazy because I do talk out loud a lot. Like I speak what I'm thinking, and I'm just looping the block. I feel like it's early enough, no one's really paying attention. But I just say it. There's just so much, words are very, very, very powerful. And so I just speak what I'm grateful for, taking everything in with my senses. And then I have a little prayer book I put in my back pocket, and a list I keep on my phone, and I just go through just naming people. And it's helpful for me to take the attention off of me, because it's so hard. We're human, so that's just a hard thing to do. But when you start your day, it makes it easier. Like this, it makes it easier. Another thing is that I think it's really important to have a mantra. Maybe a mantra, it could be a mantra for your life, a mantra for your season. Seasons change. So we're in late summer right now, and we're making our way into fall, and we can kind of feel a little bit of that change, and how the days are even getting a little bit shorter than they were at peak summer. So maybe you change up your mantra. Fall or summer is different than fall. Fall is different than winter. A mantra for me that's still a mantra, and if you have been at Super Yoga Palace for like even one day, you've heard this before, but it's love the life you choose. So that is a lyric from a song that is from the Polyphonic Spree, but the second part of that lyric is keep yourself feeling brand new. And love the life you choose, keep yourself feeling brand new. Does that resonate with you as much as it resonates with me? I don't want to be stale. I don't want to be stuck. That makes me sad. And so I know that this is a blanket statement. It's a lyric to a song. So I just take it for what it means to me. It means to seize the day, make the most of what I have now in this moment. And if I get to a place where I'm feeling unsettled and a little stuck, keep yourself feeling brand new. Try new things, connect with people, and so and evoke the rituals that mix it up a little bit. So, what happens next? So you've been integrating this kind of mind-body experience first thing in the morning, and it takes you if you only do one loop, 12 minutes, and it starts to change your day. It starts to give you new ideas, get you out of your head with kind of the overthinking. So I really encourage people to do this. This works for me, is I immediately take what's come to me and I put it down on paper. And my handwriting is terrible. If you know me, you know it is, and it's terrible. So it's literally chicken scratch. I'm not saving this note, but it's just getting it out and getting it already into the world. And then I will take a minute to actually write down my top 3 things for the day. Because when you have the things you have to do and the things you want to do, there's only 24 hours in a day. But if it's a 30-day month and we're doing those 3 most important things, I know we have 15 important things, but if we do the 3 most important things, then we have 90 things done at the end of the month if we're getting them done. And, divide that by 2 if you only get half of them done. It's a lot of things. And so with that clarity, I like to get it on paper and then take that and start to put it into action. So actions imbued with intention is a ritual. Actions imbued with intention, significance, and that often offers a sense of reverence and a rhythm that punctuates time. Rituals add beauty and expectation. Movement, breathing, gratitude, intention setting, and prioritizing has been what has helped me be able to accomplish the projects in my life that I've wanted to, while I've also done the things that I've had to. But it's also, ritual has taken those had to, and it's made it a lot more beautiful to do. And so I just want to encourage you that with the projects you have in your mind, let's bring them to your body. Let's step out into the world and shine your light. Not everything's always going to be a home run, but you don't get to the home run without practice. And part of that action piece of it is the practice. Rick Rubin, he is, I consider him like the patron saint of creatives. I've known Rick Rubin, not personally, but he did work with the Polyphonic Spree in the early days. Let me just ask before I go on about Rick Rubin, how many of y'all know who Rick Rubin is? Okay. If you don't, oh my gosh, go Google him after this. And please go get his book on the Creative Act. It is extremely affirming and validating for anyone who has one creative bone in their body. He is a prolific music producer, a seer, and a producer in all areas. But when you start to read it, I think even if I'm normal, you're like, I am so normal. This is a normal process. This is a normal thing. It's very affirming, validating, encouraging. I love his audiobook too because he narrates it and he's wonderful. He has an incredible podcast. Big fan if you can't tell. But he says, find sustainable rituals that best support your work. So maybe all the things that I mentioned, maybe that's not for you, but it's for you in a different way. I'm just kind of sharing my story because I grow by hearing other people's. And so I hope that there's something that you can take that will impact your life as well. So I have an exclusive preview of my latest work with my family. And it's because of ritual that it's inspired the ideation, the idea that we had in 2019 to the whole process of what it takes to make a feature film. This is a sample. This is not out, so please don't just keep that in mind. It's a sample, and it was for our investors to see our work as we were wrapping up the post-production. But it will give you a good taste and feel of what's possible taking your ritual, your ideation, and into fruition.
Thank you so much, Jessica. And how do they follow you? Or how can they reach out for more questions?
Yes, so if you want to follow me, you can reach out on my website, which is somajess.co. I am, you can get to all my links, social and everything from there. But if you just have a question or you want to stay in touch, you never know when our worlds collide, how they collide. Maybe you want to come to a class or something. So you can just go to somajess.co, and I'd be happy to keep this conversation going.